What is an indestructible man? Since I've come up with this brand, with this concept, people are sometimes misinterpreting what I mean. So I think it's important to clarify, and we're just going to jump straight in. The first thing to say is what it's not. And what it's not is the old idea of what a man is. This picture of John Wayne, the tough guy, suppressing emotions, just getting on with life. Boys don't cry, this type of idea. It's an old school idea of a man. It does not work for the 21st century. It's awful. So first things first, that's not what it is. Where this came from my story, which is about 8 years ago now. I had been living a life that we were all taught to live. We were raised to believe in the Western world that you do certain things, you achieve certain things, you will be happy, you will be joyful, you'll be successful. So I had spent my whole life becoming a corporate lawyer. I had worked for some of the biggest and best corporate law firms on the planet. I had set up my own law firm when I was 29. I owned that company. I employed people. I had great clients. I owned 5 investment properties. I drove a flash car. I was married. I'd had a big footballer style wedding in Spain. I earned loads of money. I had loads of friends. To the outside world, everything looked great. And I was really successful. But behind the scenes, I was depressed. I was suicidal. And the short version of this story is I decided that rather than end it all, I would rip everything apart and figure out why I wasn't happy, why I was so depressed and miserable, despite achieving everything we've been told to achieve. And that's what I did. I spent years going down the rabbit hole, working with therapists, coaches all around the world, learning from every expert I could, podcasts, YouTube channels, books. And I finally figured it all out, and I completely transformed my own life, became peaceful and content for the first time. And I'd done all of that basically as a single man. I'd ripped my whole old life apart. I'd got divorced. And I'd found this new place of peace and contentment as a single man. And at that point, as the universe tends to do, it brought a new woman into my life, the love of my life. And what I quickly realized was I'd sorted a load of problems in my life, but not the stuff that you can only heal from inside a relationship. Because when you're single, there are certain things, certain childhood wounds that are just not getting triggered, that get triggered inside relationships and when you're a parent. So I started a relationship. This girl had kids as well, so I became a stepdad. And it just uncovered loads of other stuff and loads of more work for me to do. And that's what I spent the next few years doing. And the short version of the story again is I got to a place that I never expected to be after years and years of psychological and emotional work and digging deep and going through a lot of pain and a lot of struggle to really undo all of this old shit and get myself into a good place. I realized I got to a place where I felt like I was psychologically and emotionally indestructible. The image that came into my mind was like an old oak tree that had grown all these deep roots over years and had created this solid trunk so that when the storm comes along, the oak tree doesn't ignore the storm, but it's not ripped out of the ground and blown over by it. And that's how I felt. And at around the same time, what I'd started to realize, because I've been looking at a lot about masculinity in that time, was a lack of healthy masculinity in the world. And I said to a client I was working with, I think it's time we bring back healthy masculinity. And he said something to me that I'll never forget and stuck with me, which was, have we ever had healthy masculinity, Paul? And I stopped to think about it and thought, no, I don't think we have. I think we've gone, as humans tend to do, from one extreme to the other. We've gone from hundreds of years of patriarchy and misogyny to try and correct it by going too far the other way. And that has left a gap in the middle that has been filled by some more unhealthy masculinity, but also it's created this place where if I just say the word masculinity, I think now we've reached a point in the Western world where the first word people associate with that is toxic. The whole idea of being masculine has now become the idea of toxic masculinity, which is not just bad for men, it's bad for everybody. It doesn't help us at all in our society. So I came up with this concept through what I'd been through in my own process of the Indestructible Man. And I'll link to a document wherever you're watching this video. Look in the description or the comments or my profile, and you'll see a link to a document that I created that sums up what I think is an indestructible man. But the way my work goes is it's not about telling you what I think and that you should copy me like lots of people online do. It's about me encouraging you to figure out for yourself, what does this mean for you in your life? So you can take what I've come up with and think about, what is your version of an indestructible man? What do you think it should be? How can you be in your life that makes you feel like the old solid oak tree, living a strong and powerful and fulfilling life and feeling indestructible in a way that is healthy and works for you? So it's important you come up with your own definition, which might be different to mine. For me, as I've mentioned, this is about healthy masculinity for the 21st century, for the world we now live in. This is about becoming psychologically and emotionally indestructible, but not through suppression or pushing things away, doing the opposite, by being able to properly feel, process, and deal with all of our emotions, and to not let emotions and thoughts control our life in a negative way. To me, the indestructible man is kind, he's calm, he's loving, he's joyful, at the same time as being a strong leader. He is compassionate and caring at the same time as being resilient and confident, and he has high self-esteem. He knows himself, he knows what he wants, and at the same time can listen to constructive criticism, take it on board, and enable himself to grow. And maybe most importantly, the indestructible man takes radical responsibility for his life, and he is not a victim. He doesn't blame other people. He doesn't blame circumstances. He doesn't blame the world. He takes radical responsibility for who he is. He is kind to himself. He leads with authenticity. He constantly grows, and he learns and lifts the people around him while being able to ask for help when he needs it. This is all a healthy modern form of masculinity, rooted in understanding who we really are at a core level, being able to properly feel and process our emotions in a way men have never been encouraged to do in the past, and using that as a foundation to become the best version of us, which is best for us in our lives, it's best for the people who are close to us, and it's best for the world as a whole. This is something we all need, not just men, but everybody else. So that's a brief summary of what it is. If you are interested in this stuff, I'm going to be talking more about it. You can follow me in all the usual ways. If you've got any questions, feel free to comment wherever this is, and join me on this journey. I'll see you next time.